Hey everybody. Hope this is working. Uh, it is Cohenversations number 37. Yes, I am here. 24 minutes late. Shame on me. Literally, I just closed up my work computer and opened up my Mac, and I'm here. So there you go. I am sorry if those of you who have been sitting anxiously waiting for me. um, Sorry for the wait, but it's been, as I said earlier, a busy week so far. Looks like it will be that way tomorrow again. Very successful. Hey, Larry. Um, but it is keeping me busy from daybreak to my mid to late afternoon. There you go. So, oh, Jamie Harriet. Hi, Jamie. How are you? It's good to see you. Anyway, what I was thinking about today, um, as I actually had time today to think between driving from my home to the office, and I started thinking about something that I really miss and that I'm really looking forward to um, when things get back to normal, whatever that means. Um, I was a very lucky kid. I got to travel a lot. Not always big fancy travel, although I did get a chance to go on a couple cruises actually as a child, like 11, 12, that age, with my parents. So I was very lucky in that regard. But more than that, I just sort of got inducted into a family that loved to travel. My dad, before he became a lawyer, was a traveling salesman. Hold the jokes, hold the jokes. Um, but he would travel throughout California, and for quite a few weekends during the year, he would take my mother and I, and sometimes my big sister. Um, I don't remember if my big brother went. I think he probably was off doing his own thing. But we would go with him to various towns um, when he would have to go and see a client, and we would go and stay in a motel and have a vacation for a weekend. Um, it really changed my view of things. I cannot tell you. There are many times that Kaisa and I have tried to figure out what we should do, where we should go for vacation. And she'll ask me where I want to go, and I will invariably say, I don't care as long as I get to stay in a hotel. The mere concept of checking into a hotel or a motel, um, having a nice, comfortable room, maybe a place with a pool, just someplace different. It is a real treat for me. We don't need to go somewhere super special, although that's nice too. But going somewhere and staying in a place that's not ours, that we, can walk out during the middle of the day and we come back and magically it's been cleaned and has bed made up. And by the way, thank you people who take care of that. It's a wonderful service. That is a vacation to me. And that is what I miss. Now, since becoming an adult, we've been super lucky. We have traveled extensively, usually throwing us deeply into debt for a while, but it's worth it because we've gotten to go all over the world, and seen some beautiful, beautiful places and enjoyed a lot of different cultures and had a lot of adventures. And all of that is wonderful. I love it. But seriously, it still comes down to going somewhere and staying in a motel. Or, on the rare occasion that we actually take a cruise, staying in a cabin that also gets made up for us. Um, it's a wonderful thing. And I do miss that. For 8 years, I'm sure I've spoken about this before, but for 8 years, we were lucky enough to be hired to run the theater department at a summer camp in Maine. Now, because we had dogs, they gave us a cabin that was just off the campgrounds, which was a great treat, right on the lake. And because we had dogs, we couldn't fly back to Maine. So the first couple of years, Kaisa and I and the dogs piled in the car and drove out to Maine. And then after camp was over, we drove back. Um, except for the first year when we didn't know how long it would actually take us. And so we drove way too long every single day and actually made it back there in about 4.5 days. Stupid, stupid, stupid. Never did that again. But after that, we take, a week and a half, a little more than a week to get back there. We would drive no more than 6, maybe 7 hours a day and stay in various places on the way out. Now, when we go out, we had a pretty set itinerary. We would stay pretty much in the same places once we ironed it out because the idea was to get out to Maine as efficiently as possible. But on the way back from Maine, we did our best to alter the course as often as possible and to take as much time as we could, because we both had to get back to work, um, to explore the country. And we were lucky enough to see a great number of our states, a lot of state parks, a lot of national parks, and we stayed in a lot of really great places. Some of them were in really, really awful, ugly towns. But the motels were invariably great, except for possibly the one place that I'm pretty sure was a crack hotel in Northern California. Don't need to talk about that one. But it was an incredible adventure. Now, after the first few years, Kaisa's schedule actually made it impossible for her to take the amount of time it would take to get out to Maine. And so she would actually fly out at the last minute. I would take the dogs in the car and drive across the country on my own. This also was great, not to diminish the wonderful company that my wife is on a road trip. But the road trip itself was delightful because I could just shut off my brain, not worry about talking unless I was saying things like, you need to go potty, you need to go potty. And then I would go over to the side or the rest station and take the dogs out. Yes, I was talking to the dogs, not me. I can tell that even if I don't ask. Um, but travel, the act of travel, is an incredible way of renewing one's energy, one's soul. Um, everything gets focused into one thing, getting from one place to another and experiencing the things along the way. And too often we spend our time when traveling from one place to another doing it to places that we are so used to getting to that we are on autopilot. When you're going somewhere new or somewhere farther than usual, you are hyper aware and you notice things. You notice the differences in things. We actually used to play a game when to see when it would be on the trip back east when we would actually cross over a river that actually had water in it. Now, as a Californian, as a someone who lives on the West Coast and for the most part does not see actual running water often, that is a great excitement once you hit that first real river. That might not mean anything to anyone living anywhere that has water for the most part. Anyway, so that is my goal. Once we become more normal, once we are able to get out and actually socialize with people that we don't know, go places that we're not secluded to, um, I'm taking a road trip. We're going to hop in the car, take our dogs on a road trip. And quite honestly, even if it is just up to the mountains, let's say to Big Bear, um, we're going somewhere and we're going to stay in a room that's not ours and have the bed made up for us and have little bottles of shampoo that we can use and not worry about refilling because there's going to be more of it next time. Um, we're going to go somewhere. And I would encourage all of you to do the same. It doesn't necessarily cost a lot of money. And it is a thrill and a half. Um, that will definitely be something we look forward to. And just to close, I would like to posthumously thank my mom and dad for introducing me to the joy of traveling. They were both rabid travelers. They loved it. And I did inherit that. Um, there's nothing quite like going somewhere new and experiencing something, or going somewhere that you've been before but not for a long time and re-experiencing it. So that's what I'm looking for. I hope you get a chance to travel. And if you don't happen to live near me, may I suggest traveling out here first and having a visit, because visiting with friends is an additional plus when it comes to travel. Anyway, it's good to be here. I'm glad most of you found me. And I will be back tomorrow with number 38. Can you believe how many of these I'm doing? This is nuts. Anyway, in the meantime, wash your hands, stay far away from each other, don't touch your face. Know I love you. Thank you so much. Take really. See you tomorrow.